slideshow button up on the top right.
The screen is on this one? Okay.
If you look on your screen, it's easier, I promise. Right.
Slideshow, right? I should have just done a live coding thing.
There you
There we go. Anyway, yeah, I'm Tom, apparently. Tony Andrew Meyer, pretty much everywhere's GitHub. Goodreads, Letterboxd.
You need to stand and with a mic or take it with you.
Sorry.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm a software engineer with Canonical for just under 3 years. And I'm very boldly not going to talk about Ubuntu, even though this is the Ubuntu group, because, like Dale mentioned, we do other stuff as well. So I'm going to talk about Juju, which we'll know what Juju is in a moment. There's a lot of the Ubuntu DNA in this, right? It's sort of built on pieces of Ubuntu. But we do a lot of different things, not just Ubuntu. And so I'm hoping that maybe some of you would be interested in Juju, and it's something I know, but also after, ask me whatever you want to ask me about. We're being canonical about any sort of canonically sort of stuff. I know a little bit about the Ubuntu things, but yeah, ask me whatever you want to ask about things. And this is quite high level, and overall it's hard, right? Because you don't really know what level to pitch things at. Like, should I be actually live coding? So I've not gone that way, I've gone high level, but it's a if I did it wrong. Okay, so I mean, I don't have to pitch you guys on this, but open source, right, mainstream. So there has never been more choice. Open source is everywhere. It is the way of now, it's the way of the future. AI is accelerating this. What we need to do is integrate it with things, right? We need to compose it. We need to work with lots of different clouds, with lots of different networks, and so this is sort of where Juju is going. In particular, when you're deploying things, deploying is actually pretty straightforward, right? You have a bash script, you have some Terraform, you have Salt, whatever you want to use. That's really just the start of the story. The thing that you have to do is then operate it afterwards. The whole DevOps sort of story and support it. So we all know, we put all the application code in the application, right? Where does the operations code go? Most of the time, it's actually living in the DevOps people's heads, right? And that's kind of where it lives. Maybe you've got some playbooks, maybe you've got a little bit more, but that's sort of where it lives. But ideally, you would take all of that knowledge and you would encode it somewhere. And so that's what Charming and Juju is about. So this is our mission. This is what my VP continually tells us that we should be doing. The important bits are the orange because we're Ubuntu, canonical. So we need to revolutionize the speed and quality. So speed, really important. Quality, equally important. Of software operations, distributed systems, and a model-driven approach. So we'll talk more about what that means in a second. And very importantly, at any scale, on any infrastructure. So, so Juju, this is the official sort of way to say it. It's our open source control plane. Control plane is such a businessy term, I can't hate it, but it's the official one to integrate and operate software at scale. So, very importantly, any application, right? So this could be Postgres, this could be WordPress, this could be something you've written yourself. It doesn't matter, any application at any scale. So this is, you just have one instance of it running, you have thousands of it running, and this is I have it running in my house, but also this is running across telco networks, big telco networks across Europe, and in data centers, doesn't really matter, any platform, so platforms in a second, and any substrate. So this is Kates and Kubernetes if that's your thing. This is bare metal if that's your thing. It doesn't matter. Juju is for all of these things. And the idea is that Juju has charms. So charms are, which is why I work for Charm Tech. Charms, you have a workload, right? Your Mattermost, your WordPress, your custom Django site, whatever it might be. And in the workload knows how to work. It knows how to serve websites. It knows how to serve a database. It knows how to do whatever it needs to do. The charm, the thing that Juju manages, that's where you put all of that operator knowledge. How does it get backed up? What happens if a node dies? How do I scale from 1 unit to many units? All of that sort of day 2 operations stuff. This is where we encode it into actual code, usually Python code. Charms are very much in the Python space. Juju is a very large Go application. There was a time that it was the largest Go application in the world. Not anymore, which is probably a good thing. Charms, though, you write a charm in Python. I don't know how many people, maybe. Also, by the way, I should have said at the start, I don't do snaps, so don't come at me with your snap things. Maybe I'm also offending people by saying Python. Maybe all of you are like, oh no, Rust, or whatever. It's not possible to do charms in other languages, but we find that Python is, and I've been doing Python for 22 years, I'm very opinionated about it. It's the language where you can very easily write and encapsulate all this knowledge, right? Without having to worry about memory safety, without having to worry about lots of really complicated sort of bits that you might have to in like an lower-level language, but also not have to worry about sort of dependency hell that you might have to worry about in other sort of languages. And you can deploy these anywhere. So get to this is the one I want. So inside Canonical, we very, very heavily use Juju. So we have a whole bunch of apps at the top there, some of which I recognize. There's a whole machine learning stack on top of it, kind of classic machine learning AI, right? The older people in the audience may remember when AI was not like transformers and large language models. It was a whole bunch of other things back when I was studying, for example. But so you can use Kubeflow and all of the Qubey kind of things. We have stacks that do a lot of data stores. So Postgres is your thing, or MySQL is your thing, or Mongo, or Valkey, Redis. Actually, Valkey is where it is, we've got a data store. But there's all this infrastructure stuff that we offer as well, right? This is where the sort of Ubuntu side comes in. So Ubuntu, I assume people know what that is. Live patch, people sort of know what live patch is. Live patch is how we get all of the updates out to landscape, how you make sure that your apps are deployed and they're up to date and carefully managed. MAS is Metal as a Service, so that's a way to manage. If anyone's running a data center, you can run your data center on MAS, and a bunch of other sort of things. All of this, except for MAS, because it's right at the very bottom, gets orchestrated by Juju. And wait, I'm going to come back to that one. This one I was talking about. If you'd ever had to migrate your stack from, say, AWS to Azure, or from Azure to GCP, or from GCP to like some workstations that are sitting in someone's basement, whatever it might be, you do that once, and you learn that you never, ever want to do it again, right? It is so terribly complicated. I've done this a couple of times at previous gigs. Theoretically, all of these platforms are just sort of other people's computers sitting in the cloud, right? But actually, you get really locked in to doing things the AWS way, doing things the Azure way. And by all means, we want you to be using these things, right? We have great relationships with Microsoft, with Amazon, with Google. We partner with all of them. You can get an Ubuntu Pro image, I think, on all of those, like with a click of a button sort of thing. What Juju offers, and the promise, is that you can just move from one to the other. It's agnostic as to which of the providers you're using. And the thing I like about this slide is that you could have a Juju controller that's each of the vertical boxes. So one's running the first stack, and the second one's sitting on top of OpenStack. Or you could switch your Juju up and run the other way, where every row is a different Juju controller. Well, apart from the bottom one, obviously. And so all of those are sitting on your stack for your application is sitting across a bunch of different clouds. Or every single box could be in a different Juju controller if you really want to. it's probably pretty overkill. So the big promise here is that you write your stuff once, and then you can deploy it anywhere, you can move it from one place to the other. Obviously there's still data to move, right? This isn't some magic wand where your terabytes of database data is just going to magically move from one cloud to another. But in terms of actually running the applications and helping with that migration, Juju offers that. So you probably have heard a lot of these other things, right? Terraform, Helm charts, Ansible, and regular K8s operators, Kubernetes operators. This is sort of where Juju sits. And the important thing is that it's sitting across a huge range of this, right? So if you're using Helm charts, right, that's really for your installing apps and you're integrating apps, configuring apps, that sort of thing. If you're terraforming, then that's much more about the cluster sort of initially sort of set up yourself. What Juju gives you is a way to do infra provisioning, install configuration, and lifecycle management. Lifecycle management is the key thing, right? You do a lot of day one installs, but then you're there for 15 years, however long it is, supporting everything afterwards. And so really it's that life cycle, the day two, which is day two, so 20,000, that's the thing that matters. And you don't have to do all of this yourself. So one of the things I love about Juju is take it, put it wherever you want. The other thing is that you sort of Lego-ish, right? And that you have your thing that you built yourself, your core business logic or whatever it might be. And then you need a whole bunch of stuff, right? You're going to need a database, you're going to need ingress, you're going to need identity, you're going to need observability. All of these things, you don't want to build all of those things yourself. And you probably don't want to manage all of those yourself. Manage your Postgres, manage your Loki, manage your Grafana. What's some of those read on the slide? Manage your OpenSearch, whatever it might be. And so we at Canonical, in the Charming teams, one of the things that we're really focused on is providing all this sort of infrastructure for you, right? I mean, if someone here is actually like a Postgres developer or something, then by all means, keep working on Postgres. But for most of us, we just want to consume these things, right? So I deploy my app, my custom Django website perhaps, and then all I do is Juju integrate Postgres, Juju integrate traffic maybe for ingress, and Juju integrate, and we've got a whole COS stack, so Grafana and Loki and Alert Manager and all those sort of things. And Juju will take care of connecting those pieces up. So in your charm for your business logic, you'll have said, okay, when I get a database from Juju, this is how I use it. When I get ingress, this is how I use it. But you don't have to worry about how to deploy and manage all of these things. And some of these are hard, like when you really go big scale, some of these are difficult to do really well, right? If you want to have a database that's high availability, that you can fail over to an entirely different cloud automatically, make sure that it always just works. These are not easy things to do, and so basically you can just rely on Canonical to have built the world's best DevOps knowledge for Postgres, for example, and to have encoded it in a charm, and you can just take advantage of that. But also, if this is just your home lab, and you need some databases for, I have a charm that I wrote that takes data from my solar inverter because the app is really terrible. So I can keep track of how much power my solar panels are generating every day. I don't need high availability falling over clouds for that, right? This is running on not this laptop, but a different one at home. So it does really scale to whatever sort of size you need. And we're not like, don't use other things, right? Like all of those, Postgres traffic, all those things, other people build those. And so you can manage things in different ways as well. So there's a Juju CLI where you type in Juju integrate and Juju deploy, and Juju refresh, all these other sort of things. But you can also use Terraform. There's a Juju Terraform provider. All of the chunks of Terraform modules. You can do it programmatically with a library called Jubilant. And then we have a thing called Jazz, which is Juju as a service, which is a whole other thing for another day. I don't know about that part. And that's basically it. If you're interested in Juju, Ubuntu.com/Juju, Kanoko.com